Welcome to a new episode of the TF Motorsports official podcast. I'm Thomas Frasco. We're still waiting for the 2025 Monster Jam season, as we'll be covering the majority of the season next year, week in and week out on the podcast. It's going to be very exciting, but we're still on that waiting period, so we still have a couple guests to go through. We have right here Reagan, Szymanski right here, the MonsterTruckLord or Monster Jam Lord. Welcome to the podcast, bud.
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here. What are we talking about today?
We're going to be talking about your channel and how much you have really grown, and just talking about Monster Jam and Monster Trucks, just the beauty that is the motorsport itself. So let's start off actually with your first show, because obviously a lot of content creators know you as the one who goes to all these different Monster Jam and Monster Truck shows week in and week out, experiencing this incredible journey. Where did this all start? What was the first show you ever went to? Was it Monster Jam or just a different independent tour?
My first ever Monster Truck show was indeed a Monster Jam. It was in Qualcomm Stadium, San Diego, 2009. And a lot of people remember that show as televised for being just crazy. I could go on and on about that show. I'm a nerd about the old Monster Jam stuff, especially 2009, 2010 era. And most notably, I would say from that show was Tom Mentz Freestyle. That was the first time I ever went to a show. First time ever seeing Tom Mentz in the flesh, my favorite driver of all time. And he really was the highlight of the night. Big air, big crash, big save. Wheel broke off and everything back in the good old days.
Yeah, the wheel breaking off, and then you always get those constant sequels. Before the sequel thing was a trend, Tom Mentz on 3 wheels. We had quite a few different moments of that. But then after that event, you just got hooked and you just constantly went to the same location for a while, or did you already start expanding after that?
Well, I'm from San Diego, so San Diego's my local show. It always was. And we started off, I started off as a fan a little before my first show. I actually got hooked on it from TV, or my mom put on TV when I was probably 5. I think my first show I was like 6. And I was hooked no matter what. If the show was bad, good, whatever, I was going to be hooked no matter what. I already was hooked. So we stuck around San Diego for the first couple of years. I hit a show in Anaheim one year when I was really young. This is, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. But those are really the only Monster Truck shows around me. I mean, the independent scene isn't very big around Southern California either. I mean, you could get like a couple very small shows here and there. My actual hometown, closest show to me is Del Mar Fairgrounds, if you know that one. It's July 4th weekend every year at the San Diego Fair. And that was pretty much the only other option besides Monster Jam coming to town every weekend, or every year, excuse me. So yeah, San Diego's where I stuck most of the time.
So as eventually YouTube becomes a big thing, and everybody's starting to make accounts, and we all started our own little journey. So when did yours begin on YouTube?
Oh wow, I was young. I remember this. I'll give him a shout out. He's my friend Brett. We're very good friends now. We met through YouTube actually. He started making videos. He was really good friends with Monster Jam OCD Ryan Albin. He works at Monster Jam now. And they would make the Hot Wheels videos at the time where they'd unbox the Hot Wheels and stuff. And at the time I was really into the Hot Wheels and the toys.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I made, of course. You got to be when you're a kid.
Of course.
And especially the unboxing videos and stuff like that. I was really into Monster Jam OCD's unboxing videos and all that stuff. And Brett, he would make these videos as well. His channel was One Monster Jam at the time, very old. And he would do these sign-up series and play with the toys and all that. And I just messaged him through YouTube one day. And I was like, I'm going to start making my own videos. And we started talking. I started making my own Monster Jam videos along with him, with the toys and everything. And maybe a year or so of that, it took me to go to my next show again. And it was San Diego again. And I started filming just for my own self, really. I would go to the show and film the whole thing in its entirety and upload it to my channel just for me, for my own memories. It's like, oh yeah, that's where I was sitting when, last year in 2016, 2017, whatever. And that really snowballed as time went on. I started going to more shows, Monster Jam started going to like LA and stuff like that. So I was driving up, going to a couple more locations. And that snowballed into World Finals 2019, the first one in Orlando, where that was the first show I ever really like traveled to. That was the first show I got on a plane to as a fan. Spend all that money on a plane ticket and a hotel and all that just to go to a Monster Jam show, you know what I mean? And so it took me to that show. I just did the same thing where I just, kept filming for my own self, for my own, just for my own pleasure, I guess you could say. And those videos kind of blew up, or across all the videos from that World Finals. I got a couple million views or so across all the videos.
Yeah, I
and I was
remember.
like, that's when the channel really, its first, not blow up, but that was its first like real hit of success. It was 2019 finals. And I was monetized at the time. And I went from making $0 a month to like a paycheck a month just from that. And I was like, wow, just from one show in World Finals, it's like maybe I could take this money and put it into going to more shows, because I was such a big fan. So I was like, oh, maybe I could go to Houston, watch a show in Energy Stadium, or maybe I could go to Glendale, Arizona, or something like that. And as the months went on, that October is when those October stadiums rolled around in 2019. That's when they had Glendale, All-Star, Houston, Arlington all in a row. I took the money that I'd saved up from those World Finals videos and put it into going to all those shows. And that was kind of like my test run, where I was like, let's see if I could do this, And I also wanted to go and check out the Monster Jams as well. And I crossed off all those big bucket list locations, got to see the All-Star Challenge and all that. And it was a success, where the money I'd put in put itself back out, and I was able to go to more Monster Jams. You know what I mean? So it was a win-win for me. And starting 2020 was my first year where I took it full time. Right before COVID, that 2020 Monster Jam season was the first year that I started traveling every single weekend to Monster Jams. And COVID, that kind of cut everything short that year. And we're pretty much here now. That's pretty much the whole story. After COVID went away, Monster Jam came back, I came back, and everything's been normal ever since. I've been traveling to shows every weekend, just about filming and giving the best coverage of monster trucks to the world.
And those coverages of the Monster Jam, and not just Monster Jam, but just monster truck things entirely, is just some of the most top-notch stuff that we have on the platform. But another thing that fans really like in some of the recordings is definitely the, as I call, the Reagan reaction, just pure passion. Now, one of those is, let's go back to World Finals 20. First, you have Todd LeDuc. He sends it in the first hit in his run at Monster Energy. And then we have this the second time that happened, this time with Tom Mentz in Max D Fire.
Right.
Now tell me exactly, like, when that happened, like, what did it like feel when you were recording?
Well, yeah, like I said, that was the first show I ever traveled to, like on a plane or anything like that. Still
There we
good?
go.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. It's just it happened
Technical
again.
difficulties.
If you weren't here the previous two times that happened, and now I know for sure it's a Discord issue. I gotta work that out. So yeah, go back
Uh-oh.
to what you were saying about the reactions and some sort.
Well, that was the first show I ever traveled to, World Finals 20 in Orlando. And I only been to a very few shows at that time. So I hadn't really seen all of what Monster Jams had to offer yet. Like, I'd never seen big air like that in person. I was really young. That was probably like the height of my fandom, was right then, right when I started traveling in the beginning. And I could not believe what I was seeing, especially Todd LeDuc's first jump. That first big air. Never seen anything like that in person before. And that's only happened in Monster Jam a very few times, maybe only 5 jumps quite that big in the history of the sport. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was, like you said, the Reagan reactions. I was losing my stuff. You know what I mean? I think I yelled for about like a minute straight after Todd sent it that first time. And when Tom came out and did it right after, I couldn't believe it, man. Favorite driver doing something that cool, shredding the body. Great time to be a fan.
Oh man, and let's continue that into this year's World Finals. Several years later, and it is the final round of the Monster Jam World Finals racing competition with Tristan England in the JCB Digatron, and then you have Zach Gardner in Wildside, and he pulls off the racing win, getting his first World Championship and his first World Finals appearance. How did that feel? Like feeling the energy inside the stadium and everybody just going crazy, Jamie Garner in tears. Like, how was that whole thing? Like, how was the environment in there?
I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Um, just seeing Zach climb the bracket race by race by race. I wouldn't say he's a sleeper. It's just, it's his first World Finals and all that. No one really expected the guy in his first year to come in and win. So seeing him climb up the bracket, sneak in, race by race was super cool. When we finally got to the semifinals, I was like, wait, he could make it. If you're in the semifinals, you could win. So I was like, he could win this. And he made it to the finals, took out Bari, I'm pretty sure. And it was
Yeah, I
just,
believe it was Bari.
yeah, and it was ecstatic in there, man. And usually in your typical Monster Jam, you don't have the thousands of fans coming from around the world that are super into it like you are. But at the World Finals, there's always that. At the World Finals, you always have thousands of people that are all there for the same reason you are. And you could tell the energy in SoFi Stadium was high when Zach won. You could tell that it wasn't just me cheering for him. It was the whole stadium cheering for him. And everyone knew that Zach Gardner, an independent, took the World Finals Racing Championship. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, and this also kind of makes me wish that eventually MetLife would get a World Finals because just from what I've seen from this year and all the years previously, it's not just some casual fans that might just tune in just because it's their local show, but it's also the hardcore fans who take their time and money and just go to these locations. And yeah, just I want to be there eventually at some point for that big environment. And yeah,
Oh,
it
yeah.
seems really cool. Now, are you excited for the next World Finals? It's gonna stay on the West Coast, and it will be at Salt Lake City.
I'm really excited for that. I think out of all the stadiums I've been to, the one that's most similar to Vegas, Sam Boyd Stadium, is Rice Eccles Stadium or Rice Eccles. I don't know. Rice Eccles, Eccles. That
Yeah, I
stadium in
forgot the
Salt
name.
Lake City. They are, that is the closest stadium to Sam Boyd. It's got the same colors, it's got the bleachers. It's pretty close, pretty similar to Sam Boyd. And I think it's going to be cool for that reason. It's going to be kind of feel like the closest it can feel to Sam Boyd again. So that will be really cool. And I like the 2-day format as well a lot.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think the 1-day format, especially in Nashville last year, really showed where it lacks, and it lacks in if something goes wrong. And
Yeah, I was
the press.
surprised.
Yeah, I thought, maybe they switched the 1-day format just to make things a little easier. Like, in Orlando when it was 2 days and having it delayed with the rain, maybe they're like, hey, let's get it all over with a 1 day. But then we saw the 1-day format, and then that could get just as screwed up as the 2-day format. So
Hmm.
I just prefer the 2-day format because it's more monster trucks, more action. Yeah, it's not all crammed into 1 day. It's more relaxed. So I like that a lot, and I'm excited it's returning to 2 days.
Yeah, and I think because of the last two experiences, I think it also has something to deal with the track. I don't know if it was something about them with their track design. The first World Finals that had that 1-day format back in Nashville, there was buses, a couple cars, but for the freestyle portion, there was something lacking. Like obviously there was room to send, but they could have done a little more. But then we had the second World Finals in this format, that being, of course, SoFi Stadium, and the track. The problem was it was racing focused.
Yeah,
So it was just eating up trucks almost every time. So I think after watching back the previous few World Finals, this I think is something that they are capable of doing, and I'm really glad they went back to that because now we know for sure that we got a good chance of getting on a really not just good racing track, but also a very nice freestyle track as well. And hopefully, this can make the event stand out. And if they play their cards right, it should be a very great World Finals coming up. And
yeah,
even though that I'm not going to be able to attend, just like all the other World Finals that's happened before it, I'll still have a blast watching it live on YouTube. Um, Now that got me a little, got me a question. So, now obviously Monster Jam is beginning to do these live broadcasts. They started off at Birmingham earlier this year, I believe around March, and it turned out to be a massive success. They experimented with a few other shows, and then they made it full time. Where if the arena, stadium, or wherever is able to support it, they will have it on YouTube. So tell me about that. What's your opinion on the Monster Jam live streams?
I think it's great. It's something I'd been advocating for years, something I'd been pushing for years, because you need to broadcast your sport to the people. And if you're just, you could put on events, but who's seen them besides the people there? If you really want to grow your sport, you should be showing it to everyone. And YouTube is the
Exactly.
perfect, exactly. And YouTube is the perfect platform to do that. Where YouTube, it's free for everyone to use, it's free for everyone to watch. That's very important too. And it's the most like easily available. Everyone's got internet, everyone's got internet on their phone. You don't even need internet. You just use 5G. So could literally watch Monster Jam from anywhere. It doesn't even have to be your home. It could be on your phone while you're out. And that's something that's very important for the sport. And I really like that. The live streams have been really good. I still think there's a couple things they can improve on, like maybe like during halftime and stuff like that. Just provide more I guess the word
Info?
server side info, or like just more entertainment for like when it's halftime and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But those are just bugs that they're going to work out in the next couple months. I mean, they've already vastly improved. It's been like 6 months now. They've already vastly improved from 6 months ago to now, and I think they're just going to keep getting better.
Yeah, it kinda gave me an idea, like, maybe, like, while they're on breaks, they should definitely try to show, like, video packages of some of the drivers or, like, kinda create, like, storylines leading up to it. Like Ryan Anderson's on a roll and, like, we heard from him earlier and, like, this whole video package shows. I think that's what they should do, not just for the broadcast, but, also for the TV show. I think they should do both. I think it would make it feel more, like, professional in a way.
Yeah, definitely. Monster Jam's always lacked that, where it's not something like they used to have. It's just kind of like they never really had kind of like an like they push the word athlete a lot now, but they don't really present their performers like athletes as or no, it's not what I want to say. They don't present their performers as much as they should, is what I mean. Where it's
Mm,
obviously truck, like Dalmatian, Unicorn, Bull,
yeah.
like that's obviously pushed. But I think what we need more pushed is the drivers and the personalities and more involvement there, and that could bring a lot more like legitimacy to the sport. A lot of people would think it's more legitimate, like NASCAR does stuff like that all the time, and I think that's mainly what they're lacking right now is a lot of driver involvement.
Man, Reagan, I love what you think, and yeah, I totally agree with that. And that's kind of similar to what I've been saying this entire time, pretty much. Close enough, anyway, but still, I really love the way you're thinking. Now going into outside of Monster Jam, you've been to all the other tours, or the majority of, or close enough, as far as I know. What is your favorite independent tour right now that you have been to?
Favorite independent tour? Wow. I actually haven't been to a few of them. I've still never been to a Monster Truck Throwdown, which I've just been trying to fit into my schedule all these years, and it's never happened. I've wanted to really
Oh,
bad. It's
you
nothing
should.
against them. I know I should. I know there's like
Yeah.
Mount Pleasant. I want to go to that every year, and I should have this year.
Ooh,
Um, but ones that I've been to, the most professional independent show I've ever been to was the toughest Monster Truck Tour. I went to one of those this
that's a
year in
good one.
January. They are really good. And it's like a real production too. Like when you go in there, like it feels like an official event. Like it feels like a Monster Jam when you walk in. Not feels like a Monster Jam, it feels like its own thing. But it feels like the same level as a Monster Jam. You know what I mean? Like this is a real
Yeah.
event. And like the announcers are getting fans involved and stuff like that. There's a pit party. It's a really great time. They're the most professional one. I've been to some really fun independent shows too. Like they just had North versus South this weekend. It's not even Monster
Oh
Trucks. It's
yeah.
that's
Uh,
the Mega Truck
that's a
show
bucket
that the
list.
Anderson. Oh, you have to. That was one of the
I
most fun
I
shows I've ever
want
been to.
to.
It's
I
definitely worth
yeah.
it. I went to that last year in September last year, and that was such a great time. Those mega trucks are loud. They're unregulated. Like monster trucks are regulated too, but these things are not regulated. Like their engines can put out a lot of horsepower, and they're super loud. They make them as loud as they can. Where I remember when I was there, Tyler told me, like, "Hey, these things are loud," and I was like, "Oh, how much louder than a monster truck?" And he's like, "They're loud. Just wait." And I waited, and I got my comeuppance all right. Those things are super loud. It literally feels, the way I'd explain it is that it feels like you feel the sound in your body, where it's such like a
Oh
loud,
yeah.
like you can kind of feel that at a monster jam, like you feel like the monster truck's rumbling, but you actually feel the sound like go through you. You feel the sound waves physically from how loud these things are. And at that park, you're so close up too, like filming and watching. So you're right there next to the action. North versus South is hands down my favorite event.
Yeah. That almost sounds like me watching a modified race at Orange County. Like just the way how the cars are and like how loud they are. But again, I've never went to a mega truck race, but hopefully at some point I can convince my dad or somebody to drive over to North Carolina at some point when they have one of the events scheduled when Dennis does, and just go there for maybe like 2 days and have one of those days being
Yeah,
watching North versus South, because that, like, just from all the videos, from all the different content creators and yourself as well, yeah, it just looks like it's top notch, like unrestricted, and just going until the whole thing either breaks or you have to stop to save money. So it's like your choice, and
right.
I'm all in for it, definitely.
Exactly. That's what I love so much about it. North versus South, Dennis puts on a couple events every year at his mud park, but North versus South is the biggest one. I think they had like 60 trucks or something when I was there last year. And they're all competing for a prize pool, like they're all qualifying for money. And it's just it's a real event feel, we're like, shit's going down. You know what I mean? Like you're competing for a
Yeah.
purse. So it's really cool. And it's bucket list too, because you could also make it a couple-day trip and go visit the dungeon, go visit Digger's Dungeon if you've never been there before and check that out. And that's a whole experience as itself as a monster truck fan. So you can take one day to do the dungeon, one day to do the show. Perfect
Yep, highly
weekend trip.
recommend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the dungeon itself is just a really great facility. I went there for like, I don't know, my third or fourth time earlier this year, and I actually got to go in and see the Rust in Peace Museum. It is just very amazing that they got Grandma restored, and they got a couple of the other trucks, and got the blue and gray truck replicated. They got all those trucks not rusting. They got it in a safe spot, and they also have a bunch of other things that are just on display. They're either rare or up to date. I finally got to see that. I don't know if it was like a 1/4 or 1/3 scale Grey Digger RC. I forgot what scale it was. Maybe
Oh, those
1/4 or
primal
1/5.
RCs, those big ones
Yeah,
that
those
run on
big
gas.
gas ones. Yeah,
Yeah, those are cool.
me and my dad, we were absolutely shocked at how big that was.
Yeah, those things
Like
are
it looks
huge.
like a two-person team just to pick that thing up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You need some real muscle to lift one of those things up, man. I've never tried it, but I believe it.
And yeah, it's really really great. So highly recommend going to there and checking that out. But also just want to say shout out to Dennis Anderson. He should have a monster truck tour at some point, cuz
Oh my
man, he
god.
knows how to run his shit.
He
Definitely.
does. He does. That would actually be a great idea. Dennis ran his own tour, dude. Oh my
Uh-huh.
god. Have Tom Mensch drive.
Oh yeah, and then have Scott Douglas there as well.
Oh
Man,
yeah, that's all you need. You have those three, and then you're set. That's all you need.
yeah, and yeah, printing money at this point.
My money. I'll be putting all my money into that.
Yeah, I would take everything out of my bank account and just shoving it in just to get all the tickets. Uh, now
Crush
let's go
Car
ahead
City.
and let's go ahead and let's talk about another tour that's been kind of popping up in the industry. Now, obviously, Monster Jam's the biggest and baddest tour as of right now. They're still number one in the ranking. Most of the people are going to those shows, and when people think monster trucks, they immediately think of Monster Jam. And
Yes.
for a while, the independent scene were trying to make a name for themselves, but have either kind of just stayed steady or they folded a while ago. But Hot Wheels, they are actually starting to gain momentum, and especially this year, they went to a couple of different locations and expanded on a shocking rate. And they're gonna have a new tour next year, being Glow and Fire. I don't know if you went to a couple shows or not, but what is your opinion? And honest, what is your opinion on Hot Wheels Monster Trucks Live?
Okay. Well, this is what I don't hear a lot of people saying about Hot Wheels, which is what I think is true about Hot Wheels, is that Hot Wheels isn't really as much of a monster truck show as much of it's like a lights and theater show. And
Yeah,
that's what a
pretty
lot
much.
of people can't understand. Like a lot of people complain about the action at a Hot Wheels show. And it's like, no, you're not going to a Hot Wheels show for the action. You're going to a Hot Wheels show for the lights and the smoke and the fire now, apparently in 2025. And I think that's exactly what this Glow and Fire is going to be. I think it's just going to be an emphasis on the production, or it's going to be glow, and there's going to be pyrotechnics. There's going to be fire. There's going to be maybe fire stunts and stuff like that. Maybe fire on the trucks. Who knows? Which that's what I don't like that a lot of monster truck fans say. They're like, "Oh, Hot Wheels sucks. Hot Wheels is terrible." It's like, no, Hot Wheels doesn't suck. Hot Wheels isn't terrible. Hot Wheels is a light show. So it's like a a theater production. It's not really a competitive monster truck, company, if you will. So that's what I think of Hot Wheels.
And now let's go ahead and let's continue on into the 2025 Monster Jam season. Now, obviously, you're going to be watching that a heavy amount. Um,
Oh
so now
yeah.
that we have the tours revealed and looking at Stadium West and Stadium East, but mostly West, so you could just call it West. What is your picks for the two stadium tours?
Oh my goodness. It's hard to go against Tyler Menninga and Ryan Anderson like always, but I'll try to make it interesting. I think Tyler's probably got his tour, the East Tour this year on lock when you look at that lineup.
Yeah,
Um
that's pretty much what I've been saying.
and when you look at the West, it's like you could say the same about Ryan because you got Adam and Ryan on their tour again together this year, and Ryan won this year. Well, hey, you know what? Adam was injured half the season. So Adam didn't really get a fair shot. This is going to be our fair shot in 2025, seeing a full Adam Ryan tour. They're both going to be in the same chassis, driving like pretty much the exact same truck. So this is going to be a fair shot at us seeing Adam Anderson versus Ryan Anderson. I'm going to make it interesting. I'm going to say Adam Anderson's going to take it this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to go for my my first picks for the season, and again, I'll bring these picks back up on our 2025 season preview um, when that comes. So let's go ahead and let's talk about Stadium East. I'm thinking Stadium East is Tyler Menega. Again, I've said this during the 2025 lineup reveal. He doesn't have like I don't know, like even though that there's some really good talented drivers on that lineup, I still think Tyler Menega is just gonna run away from it. Like he needs like either Ryan or Adam or heck, maybe since Weston's been very successful in his tour, maybe he can move up, drive either like the Legend or maybe Bog Hog, and put him on a tour with Tyler and like kind of challenge him. Like that's what I thought was missing from the East tour, but yeah, Tyler all the way. But for the West tour, it's a tough choice. You got Ryan, Adam, Tristan's in the tour. Caleb Blood, she did pretty well in the postseason in Sparkle Smash. So it's just very. Very tough for that tour, but um, honestly, I think Ryan is gonna go and defend his championship, but just by a little. Again, it's gonna be very, very tight. So if you're watching tours, if you want to see some crazy stuff just from like one greater driver, Tyler Maniga with Stadium East, but if you want to see close neck and neck stadium battles, it's Stadium West all the way. That tour is great from top to bottom.
I
Um,
agree.
so now, so we're getting close, kind of sort of to the end. So with your channel and all the stuff that you went through, dealing with demonetization, making a new channel, and managing to get back what you lost, if not more, and just continuing on the growth of Monster Truck and Monster Jam Lord. What does the future hold for the channel brand?
Wow, that's a really good question, man. Um, I guess I could kind of explain this now. I don't know if a whole lot of people know this, but Monster Jam Lord was my original channel, and I started that channel back like 10 years ago almost. And about 2 years ago, that channel got demonetized for absolutely no reason. That's a whole hour-long podcast right there.
Yeah,
But that channel got demonetized for what YouTube calls reused content, which I think what I think is what happened, because they don't explain it, is that one of my YouTube shorts was blowing up at the time, and I think they thought that I was like some bot account, botting views or something like that. But it was literally just from one video that blew me up, and they were like, "Oh no," because that's when reels and shorts were getting big and stuff like that. So they didn't really know how to like regulate it. So they were
yeah,
regulating people by demonetizing them at the time. Like if you got 30 million views on a reel and all your other videos have 10 views, they would just demonetize you. Um, because they probably didn't think it was your original content. This is exactly, I'm getting too detailed into it. But basically, Monster Jam Lord was demonetized. I had to create Monster Truck Lord. As of now, Monster Jam Lord, the future of that channel, the one with 350,000 subscribers, that channel is just purely an archive channel at this point, where I don't make any money off of it or anything. I just archive all my footage from like all the shows I've ever been to onto that channel, and that's going to be that channel's future probably forever. Or if you just want to go on, if you actually go and check out the channel, I have that channel sorted where like all the shows I've ever been to and all the years that they're all sorted out in playlists. Like there's a 2020 playlist, 2023 playlist, and it's all sorted in order by calendar date. So that's something cool to check out if you want to look at some old Monster Jams or a couple of year old Monster Jams. The future of Monster Truck Lord though is I don't know. This year, not again, another whole hour long podcast discussion, but this year's been a little rough on me. A lot of plans didn't come to fruition this year with the channel, and like a lot of schedule mishaps and things like that. Like it's kind of rough. I've just been trying to get through 2024. I don't know about you, but my 2024 has been a little rough on my side. And I'm just going to keep pushing, man. There's no reason to stop. No one's ever told me to stop. I think people like what I do, so I'm just gonna keep on going. I mean, all the fans of Monster Jam Lord, Monster Truck Lord, seem to like what I do, and I've heard from others within Monster Jam that they like what I do as well. So I'm just gonna keep on going as long as I can, and I think 2025 is gonna be a very prosperous, fruitful year for the Lord, because 2024 hasn't been so far.
yeah. Just yeah, 2024. I mean, really, with any of those years, it could be like I don't know. Trying to think of the words to really describe. I guess what I'm trying to say is like for each year, some don't go as planned, but obviously there's the years that are much better, and I bet 2025 is going to be really great on your end. So yep. So Reagan, thank you so much for being on the podcast, and hope to see you at East Rutherford next year.
Oh, dude, I got it on the schedule. I got it on the 2025 schedule right here. I should be there.
Hell yeah, man! And I'm already planning ahead. I'm gonna be there. So That was right there, Reagan, the Monster Truck Lord. If you want to take a look on his channel, his channel is in the description down below. If you want to go ahead and subscribe to him, and also check out all of his covers of monster truck events. And also down in the description down below is the official TF Motorsports Discord server, as you'll get notifications from new uploads as well as exclusive Rigs and Rods events and several sections of monster truck tours to talk about. So thank you everybody for joining us here on the episode of the TF Motorsports podcast. I'm Thomas Frasco, and we'll see you guys next time here on TF Motorsports.
Woohoo!